Welcome to the Baseball Softball Pacific Rim podcast. This is Rob Penne, and in this episode, you are going to hear from Division I former professional softball player and extremely athletic Adrienne Alo. She played Division I in one of the toughest regions in the country for softball, and she also comes from a very athletic family. One thing that I'm impressed about Adrienne is her loyalty to her family, but also her teammates as her family. So she shares some really good insight on how she viewed her team, how she was able to take her team from a very low position to a high position in the rankings, all because of her focus on the team. So without further ado, this is Adrienne Alo.
Rob?
Hey there.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
You're a little muffled, but I can make out what you're saying.
How about now?
Better, yes.
Okay, cool. So tell us your life story, and we'll just go from there.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
No.
No,
Okay,
kidding.
good. Is it being recorded now?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
you can say hi to the world.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that.
So, yeah, essentially, you've had a storied softball career in your upbringing from growing up to high school to college, and I was wondering if you could share that journey basically from the beginning. And then, I'll just throw in some questions every now and then, but just recounting what that journey was, I think would be extremely encouraging for the young softball girls on the islands, and then for parents to hear your journey too.
Okay. Thank you, Rob, for thank you for reaching out to me and inviting me to share my story with you and whoever else may be listening. But please stop me if I'm going off track. I'll try to keep it real simple and share a few things, and hopefully the younger generation or whoever is listening can understand and see what path I had taken. But first and foremost, I think I just got to give credit where credit is due, and obviously, I'm just really grateful for everything that I've been blessed with. The support from my family and friends, but ultimately it started with I think my grandfathers. If I had to think about that one, both my father's father and mother's father, they played softball and cricket back then, I believe, in Bongo. So they're Bongo boys who play cricket over there, and I believe it just continued on to their children. I come from a lengthy list of athletes. My mom herself is probably a lot better than I was, and her siblings that played here in the city of Carson at the local parks and then on to Carson High School. So they were pretty athletic themselves. And then the obvious, my dad comes from a line of athleticism. My Uncle Floyd, my Uncle Frank, my Uncle Harry, as well as my dad, they all played football and basketball, but I think the more popular one had to be my Uncle Michael Alo, who was the star running back at Banning High School and then on to SC, but unfortunately some injuries had happened, and but then I have my siblings as well, so I just want to give credit to everyone before me and after me, but my older brother James and my two younger brothers Ryan and Justin, they also played baseball and football at the rec league, the high school league, and then also collegiately. But so there you go, Rob. That's a little background for my family. I have to give them nothing but the support that they gave me and the respect and the recognition. But as far as my career with softball, it actually started, just like any other kid playing here at the local parks. I'm sure there's leagues over there in the islands. Forgive me, I'm not too familiar with how the organizations are run out there, but probably very, very similar. But I started here at the parks because that's what we did as kids. We just always went to the parks. Parents were working, always signed up for leagues. So I played here at the T-ball, and then my dad was in the Navy, so then we relocated to Hawaii, and that's where, our athletics continued, and that's where I initially started playing softball. Didn't know anything about it other than it was just baseball. But I played, and I think that's when I first noticed other, at the time, Pacific Islanders. I didn't know what Polynesian was at that time. That was early 90s. But I noticed that there were other Pacific Islander kids that were playing softball, so there was something in me at second grade that I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting to see other Pacific Islander girls, because I grew up in a predominantly a Palangi community with the military lifestyle, so it was nice to see that. But then, after our 3 years there in Hawaii, we moved back to Southern California to Point Mugu, which is in Ventura County, just north of LA, and that's where I actually just started taking softball a little bit more serious. My parents enrolled me up in Camarillo, and it was just a sport that I was okay at, good at. Didn't realize I was gonna make it a career, but it was something I did. I went to school, came home, and we didn't have much money, and I could tell from the playing with other girls that came from all different backgrounds, with just my glove. I don't even know if I had a glove or if it was a hand-me-down glove or if it was a glove from the team that for those who didn't have a glove. And it was a little nerve-wracking at first because I was once again, I was in a predominantly Palangi neighborhood, and most of the girls, spoke differently, dressed differently, it was somewhat, I don't know, what's the word? I'm sorry, I'm not even sure, but it was just, all I knew is I was playing softball. My parents signed me up. I had to go. My parents, I'm sorry?
How old were you?
At that time when I came back from Hawaii, I had started 5th grade up in Oxnard. So 5th grade, again, I'm being the only Samoan out there, yes. Only Samoan out there. I don't remember in the community, there were maybe another Samoan girl, but she played basketball or softball was just, I didn't see any Samoans at the time. A lot of Polynesians, a few Mexicos, but I was the only one, dark skin, brown skin, big black hair. I didn't know how to do hair back then, and I had, oh my gosh, my hair was just like a hot mess. And that's when it wasn't in style, the big hair, but and I was just this quiet little girl who just knew to, go out and play and don't talk back, don't ask questions. And I know I wasn't the best at the time. I think I was pretty horrible. But somehow I'm sure in between all those practices, I got a few hits in there because I know my fielding skills weren't the best. But, nonetheless, I stuck with it. And eventually I made the All-Stars. I'm sorry, Rob?
Did your parents coach you, or was it?
My dad was busy. Both my parents were busy working. I had 3 brothers, older brother, 2 younger brothers, like I had mentioned. But my dad was in the Navy, so he was busy. My mom was working, and then she had my brothers to watch after. They were younger ones. But every now and then my dad was always there. He was like, I joke around and say he was my sports psychologist. But he really was, he was tough. He was tough on me. He was, that tough love. Again, I had 3 brothers, so having a daughter and, just trying to make sure that she's on track with sports or school, he was really tough on all of us, on me. So, my mom was just that supportive person. But they always seemed to work with other parents, and, they always made sure I had a right to practice. A lot of the times I was on my own. Oh my gosh, I'm getting a little emotional. Late. Sorry.
Wow.
What happened? Gosh, Rob, you're making me get emotional here. I'm not supposed to. You're making me think about back then.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of the sport, the beauty of your journey. The impact it's made, it's probably shaped your character, shaped your drive. Learning from the hard work from your parents, and wow.
Yeah.
I think a lot
Sorry.
of
Thank
a
you
lot
for
of
coming in, chiming in.
no, yeah, I
What
think a lot
happened?
of the Islanders can relate to that because it's a foreign sport. You know, it's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of like your adolescent or your younger years, because on the island it's about getting the chores done and doing your homework, and then if there's any other sport there, then yeah. So wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously the academics, coming home, doing your homework and cleaning. That was always. I'm sorry, I totally skipped that. But yeah, that was. Although I wasn't born in the islands, those values were still instilled in us being born here in the States. Or here, although I'm second generation born here, my parents first, but those values were still there, instilled in us, and even at a young age, it was hard because I grew up in around my family and the church and our culture community, and it was always Uncle Bo stuff, go school, come home, and then go to church, and I was really active, and then maybe middle school, not too long after 5th grade, that's when it started to pick up, and we'll go on into that. But I enjoyed always coming home because we come down to LA and join our Uncle Bo stuff, and it was just nice. That was a weekend getaway. Everyone goes during the weekend and comes back on the weekend. But then eventually, you grew up in softball at the time. You played a lot on Sundays, and so that was a barrier that I believe that was not hard because for some reason my grandparents were really understanding, even though it was like the mid to late 90s. But if you didn't go to church, you didn't play. I definitely remember that back in the day, and it's hard to see that now. But yeah, it's funny how we try to tell the kids that now, and they just look at us like, what? But for some reason, back in the mid 90s, my grandparents, understood, and my parents understood, and it was kind of like a barrier that I was in my own little family that I was helping break in a positive way,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but behavior. I'm sorry.
Travel ball when do you start?
Yeah,
travel ball.
Travel ball. Softball is completely different now compared to when I first started back in the 90s. Oh my gosh, I'm aging myself here. But travel ball started maybe 6th or 7th grade back then. That's when I started to get a bit more serious. And I was just blessed that the city, the organization that I played with, Camarillo, there are some really great athletes that came out of there softball-wise. And there was a coach, my first 2 travel ball coaches for the team. I always remember their name because those were my first coaches, and maybe because they were Hispanic and everyone else was following me, but George Peraza and Gil Mendoza, and Gil took me under his wing, and since travel ball from 6th or 7th grade, he kind of stuck with me. I may have lost him here and there, but he stuck with me all through college. And if you don't know Gil Mendoza, that was Jessica Mendoza, the gold medalist who went to Stanford and now ESPN analyst. Yeah, that's her dad and her sister, Alana Mendoza. We're kind of skipping from travel ball to college, and then but their father, Gil Mendoza, he's always been right there in my corner, supporting me. He supported me all through my career for the most part, if I'm being honest. But and then travel ball started up 6th, 7th grade out in Camarillo into high school, and that's when I thought, and same thing like I was saying, I just kept catching rides with other families, and I was that one, it was a bit of a culture shock going to the different places because some girls on the team had their family. Well, 75% of the time I was kind of on my own. But I think that's where my independence kind of started. I was on my own, and at that young age, Coach Gil Mendoza took us to a tournament, and I think that's where I saw Jessica Mendoza And her travel ball team played, and there were a bunch of college coaches there from all the different universities, and I was just in awe. And I think from that game on, I was just, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna get my I'm gonna earn my scholarship. And lo and behold, I was part of that travel team maybe 5 years later, 4 years later. But I kind of just jumped the gun. Yeah. It was pretty interesting now that I look back and reflect.
Yeah. Now, in travel ball, when you were playing 6th, 7th, 8th grade, was the idea of a scholarship something that was prominent in your mind, or was the scholarship for like going to college, playing softball, something that came later in high school?
No, it started off probably in the seventh grade when that game that Coach Mendoza took us to. Just hearing that I was a great softball player at the time, and if I continued that I can earn a scholarship. I knew at that moment that somehow, some way I was going to earn a softball scholarship, and I was going to pay my way to college. And I didn't know the extent of I'm sorry?
Conversations like that and mentioning the word scholarship to a young person at an early age is huge. Some people don't have it, but you did, and that's great. Yeah.
I think because my grandparents, my poor grandmother, rest in peace to her. My grandmother had always talked about it when I was younger and just growing up to all my first cousins and I. It wasn't if you go to college. It was more so when you go to college, So it was that language that was used, hearing her stories as a young child up until her last few days here on Earth with us was, I lived a hard life, and she'd get emotional sharing these stories with us. And, you just sit there as a young girl and, growing up, you just don't want to hear grandma, okay. Or talk about her time back at home in the islands and how she came here. You take it for granted. And, but it was something, those words just, college. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to college. I got to, this person's thing is going to give me get me to college for free? Okay. Well, and I'm good at it. Well, why not just stick with it and go? Because I knew my parents did not have the money to pay for me to go to college. And at the time I didn't realize how much money or understand how much, but I just knew it was a lot of money, and I knew at the time we didn't have money. So anything outside of that, but it was the language that my grandparents used, and anything that'll make my grandparents happy, I was gonna do,
Yeah, that's cool. So that day,
if that makes sense.
You saw the college.
I'm sorry, Rob?
So when Coach took you there, you saw all the colleges. It sparked something in you, and then it just kind of steamrolled from there.
Yes. It did. From that moment on, I remember back in middle school or elementary, there was a book fair, and I wrote a book, and I said, I kind of relived it and said, I'm going to play a travel ball, and these coaches are going to come. But my coaches in my book were my uncles and my dad. But, ever since then, I stuck with softball, and it was pretty much a year-round sport. There's a lot of practices, times where I wanted to give up and just hang out and be a regular teenager, I guess. But I don't know what that meant, because we weren't able to do much back then, or do as a teenager, as a female. But in the back of my head, I knew this was something I had wanted, and I was going to have to, stick it through. And I didn't know what obstacles I was going to encounter, but I knew that was something I wanted to do. And but trust me, there were plenty of times where I wanted just to give up and go back to the Alcohol Bowl and hang out with everyone and see, because it takes you away from that lifestyle, and you don't get to really. I didn't really have. To be honest, my friends, I don't know if I could call my softball friends at that time my friends, because they were my teammates. And then when I go to school, it was just Monday through Friday, morning bell, and then end bell, the end of school bell, and it was time to go home, do what I had to do, and then go to practice, you know? So it was, I'm not sure what the word is, but it was a very interesting lifestyle that I lived. But
now, did that
fun.
high school?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Did that stop when you went to high school and your life changed where you played high school baseball and then you stopped travel ball, or was travel ball part of your life, including high school?
Yeah, we relocated back home to Carson. I never thought I'd go to Carson High School or Banning because that's what my parents always told my older brother and I. But we came to Carson, and softball was still in the picture, you know, all through middle school, and then eventually moved back down here to LA, and ended up playing in Orange County with a travel ball team. But yeah, it was a year-round sport, and then once high school ball started, softball would stop. Sorry, I'm going to sip some water here. Yeah, softball would stop. However, you know, just to kind of stay in shape, too, I was playing basketball. I've always played basketball. I don't think I was any good, but I think basketball just kept me in shape. But, yeah, I played ever since maybe 5th grade. I was playing basketball. But anyways, yeah, I played another sport. You know, us Samoans were pretty athletic. I think once you start playing one, you could probably play all. But in high school, yeah, we stopped from maybe February to May. That was the high school season, and then resumed right back, and that was nationals during the summertime. And so that was summertime, yeah. And the fall ball was the time that I'm sure it's very similar now to back then, but fall ball was the time that you showed up and you showed out, and that was your time to show the coaches what you had. And not so much during the 14, 15 freshman year, sophomore year, but mainly, well, yeah, you had up until your junior year to commit. But I know that it's different, or they might have changed it back to how recruiting was for us back then. But because I know recruiting has gotten ridiculous. It's crazy because they're recruiting kids as young as maybe 6th grade. They're wanting 7th graders to commit to a university. But,
wow.
You know, you'd be surprised, Rob, right? Recruiting got crazy because of the competition and, you know, with the different conferences and colleges. The Pac-10, when I played, it was the strongest conference. And so all those schools back east, the SEC, ACC, you know, Big 12, Big 10, they weren't getting, you know, as much of the athletes because everyone wanted to go to the Pac-10, you know, the Conference of Champions. But kind of towards maybe my senior year, there was a player that went to Tennessee. I think her name was Monica Abbott. I think she's from California, if I'm not mistaken. And that was one of the first ones that I remember that kind of went outside of the Pac-10 conference and kind of paved the way for others to go east. So there, I mean, although everyone was focused on the Pac-10, there was so many other schools, you know, waiting to be developed, waiting for athletes to go to. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, all these big name schools, UCLA, Oklahoma, Florida. I know every person would want to go to those schools because why? They're on TV, because you see their T-shirts, you see everything, you know, the media coverage, the apparel. But, I mean, if I'm being quite honest, any school that's willing to pay for your education is a great school. I mean, not to take away anything from these big name schools, I mean, but any school that's willing to take you in for 4 years, maybe 5, depending on the coaches and how you do in academics and perform. But any school is great. But yeah.
When did you know you were college bound? Like you knew, oh man, I'm good enough, and I think people are watching me. So I, you know, when did that like hit home for you? What year?
It had to be, I knew maybe I had a decent idea, maybe 7th, 8th grade, that I was okay. I was pretty good, or good, But maybe my freshman year in high school was when I got my first letter of interest,
Wow.
Yeah, my freshman year. My freshman year, I got a letter. I mean, coaches couldn't call you at the time, or you're making me think way back. But yeah, they couldn't necessarily contact you, but they can send letters or whatnot. But I got my first letter my freshman year, and I was like, oh, wow, it wasn't just one of those. I'm not sure what you call it, but it was a handwritten letter. I wish I could say that I still have it, but I think once I realized I wasn't going there, I think I might have tossed it. But yeah, I remember opening it at at school, and I was like, oh my gosh, and that's when I had a better idea that I was okay. I might just be good enough to go to college.
Yeah, that must have felt really cool, and special to get a letter from a school saying, "Hey, we want you."
Yeah, it was nice. It was a great experience. Great school, great coaches. It was here in Southern California, and it was one of the top 3 schools I wanted to go to. So, or actually, at that time when I opened, it was the top school I wanted to go, my number 1 school.
Yeah.
But it was a nice feeling, and but if I'm being honest, just cut to the chase, academically, you struggled just a bit. I struggled a bit. I'm not going to paint this picture where I was a straight 4.0 student. I struggled academically, when I came and moved to the city where I was surrounded it was just a new environment. Now I'm amongst others. In no way am I trying to put the blame on anyone else, but it was a bit of a culture shock for me because I was never around that many what am I trying to say? Samoans, just a diverse community. I'm just like, I was overwhelmed. I was excited. I was, but I was still eligible to play. It's just, my freshman year I had a 3.8, and after my freshman year, that's when my academics dropped just a bit, but they stayed above just enough to keep me eligible for the season, and to be looked at by schools. But long story short. Keep the grades up, and it was the SAT, ACT was that deal breaker for colleges, and so depending on how high or low your GPA is, you had to make up the difference on your SATs, and as good as you are, as many accolades you received, if it wasn't right academically, it wasn't going to get you where you wanted to go. So with that being said, that number 1 school choice that I wanted to go to actually paid me a home visit. They were my first home visit. So I had the head coach and assistant coach come to my home and share with me that they had wanted me to come attend their school and play softball, ... However, academically, and I'm just sharing this with you because I'm being real with you guys, academically, it's we're unsure that you'll be able to, keep it or be able to. What's the word? It was a business investment for them, It was taking me, who was 50-50, versus another athlete, another softball player who, or could do both academically and athletically, So they offered the other girl, and there was one last scholarship, and they went with the other girl who showed a higher standing or with the academics, Yeah. So, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So wherever you end up, it is what it is because that's where you're supposed to be. And I took a few trips to 4 different schools, and I thought I was going to go. Yeah. Yeah, so in the recruiting process at that time, you're able to take 5 trips. I'm not sure how other sports are, but you're able to take 5, and I took 4, but yeah. I went to University of Kansas. I believe it's in Lawrence, Kansas. The Jayhawks. They were really good in basketball, but softball, they were up and coming program. Um, I went to BYU with one of my teammates from San Diego. Another Samoan girl, Rob. You should interview.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Connect me with your friend later.
For sure. I'll be more than happy to. That was to BYU, and then to the big house over there. I think over there by Ann Arbor, right, Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought I was gonna go. I was ready to commit on my trip. I mean, who wouldn't want to go there, the big house, and just that. Oh my gosh! But I called my dad on my trip, and he said, just wait, because he left it up to me. A lot of my decisions were left up to me for my parents. They were just really supportive. But he told me, you have one last trip, and then you can decide. And it was Oregon State. So those were the four: Kansas, BYU, Michigan, Oregon State official trips that I went on. And I took that final trip. I mean, I really encourage any girl to visit, a young girl or boy, to visit where they're going to go if they can. Luckily, these trips were paid for because I wouldn't have had the funds to go. But if you have an uncle, auntie, someone who's willing to pay for you to go visit the school that you might be interested in, then by all means, go visit it and, get a feel for it yourself, or go get a feel for it. And as much as I had thought Michigan was the school, Big Blue, that connection, me being there with the teammates, I don't know if I was forcing it or if I actually liked it, but it wasn't until I went to Oregon State, and it was just the coaches, the community. I think the people who, there were quite a few people who came from Los Angeles that made me feel at home. And I think the deal breaker was the coaches did their homework. They studied me. And I think the deal breaker on that one was that for the tailgate before the football game, they brought local boys, the Hawaiian food. So I know that's pretty fat, but who doesn't love local boys, mac salad, Calbee short ribs? But they did their homework and they got brought it, and it was just a great experience overall. And I don't regret my decision. They were the last team in the conference. So there was only 8 teams in the conference. They were definitely in last place, but they were in a great conference. And I saw a program where I didn't necessarily want to go. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted to go to a great school, a big school that was known to win how many championships, whatnot. But this was a school that I could go help and leave something behind. And we had a great run while I was there.
Yeah.
We had a great run.
So what was that like when you graduated? And I guess you knew you were going to go, but
when you actually got there on campus, what was that like? Foreign, you visited once, but like it's now a new chapter in your life, a whole new, horizon ahead of you. What was that like?
Corvallis, Oregon in fall of 2002. Let me just share that I cried halfway up from Los Angeles, from Carson all the way to Oregon. I think I cried most of the I-5 north. So it was about a 14-hour drive. So cried because I left all my family behind. I was going somewhere, and my parents had. I still remember when my parents had taken me up there to the dorms. It was, it was exciting, but it wasn't until the morning that they had to drive away. And I was unsure. I knew I wanted to be on my own. I got it. I had it. This is what I worked up to, and here I am. And at the time, I was at my teammate's house. We had something going on, but my parents left early morning. And I think I cried. I cried for a bit. I had to get myself together, but I was on my own in a whole other state. And it was exciting at the time. I think I felt a little bit more at ease because I had a teammate of mine, that same Samoan girl that I told you about from San Diego. She went with me. It was an interesting story how we got her to, because she was going to go to Purdue, but we convinced her to go to Oregon State. But I think because she was there, I felt a bit more comfortable. But overall, I was excited. It was fall, football season. We had a lot going on, so we were busy. There was no time to actually kind of sit back and, let your mind wander and miss everyone, get homesick. But, just I took it all in my freshman year. We had a horrible first season.
Oh,
And
no.
I think because of the difference between the age gap between the team, there were seniors and then us freshmen. So it was a bit uneasy, but our freshman class, we really clicked. The whole team did, we got along, but there was just those differences, and it was hard. And I was ready to come home. I think maybe the second or third preseason weekend out. I was ready to transfer. I was just done. Even the other Samoan girl, I think we were all just like, because when there's no bond or there's no chemistry between the team, it tends to not sit well. But for whatever reason, after that year, I think my freshman class, the 5 of us, we just told each other, hey, we're never going to let the younger ones, the up-and-coming class, feel the way that we did, And then from that moment on, we just, we took off. We took off running. But it took me a year and a half. It took a year and a half for Corvallis to grow on me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's just a small little college town out of nowhere, surrounded by fields of and animals. But yeah, Corvallis. Yeah. I mean, thank goodness Eugene was only 45 minutes. I mean, I was in Salem, 45-minute drive away, but we're just out there nowhere.
How many times did you get to come down and play in front of your parents down here in LA?
Right. All right. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Rob, because another deal breaker with Michigan, again, it's a big school. Who wouldn't want to go there? But because they're located there and their conferences, I forget do you know the name, the conference they're in? Big 10, Big 12, I don't even know. But whatever conference they're in, their preseason, they only came back to the West Coast. The closest was Arizona. So that was once out of the whole season, right?
Oh.
Whereas Oregon State, again, mind you, they're Pac-10, so all the schools in this conference were, there was Arizona's, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, and then Washington. So my parents, fortunately, we came down here quite a bit, and the preseason games, we came down here because up there it rained a lot, so we traveled quite a bit, at least 10 straight weekends every season for the most part. But because the classes under us, we recruited a lot of girls from Southern California. So the coaches actually kind of, if I'm not mistaken, they scheduled the tournaments to be here in Southern Cal, so a lot of the families could attend those games,
Nice.
So my family got to see us play quite a bit. I think every weekend, because you get so many tickets, right? You're usually only supposed to get like 2 or 3 tickets. I was begging my teammates and the coaches, like, hey, can I have X amount of tickets, because my family and, just at that time everyone was coming out and supporting me. Oh my gosh, I felt so much love. At times I was just like, can only 3 of you guys come? But there'll be packs of there'll be at least 10, at every game, I was spoiled with that love and support, but it was nice to see everyone, But it was a lot of fun. Not only did I make new friends and really establish relationships with the parents too, my dad and mom got to bond with other parents, So it was their little getaway from life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so they did a bit of traveling themselves, maybe not so much to the away tournaments, but they did. And there was even once we got to go to Hawaii for a preseason game, and so my parents joined. And, yep, and we had family out there who were able to attend the softball games.
Nice.
Some fun times there. Fun times.
Yeah. So then you graduated.
Did you have plans on coaching or continuing playing, or what did that look like? Like, were you relieved that, okay, you can take a break, or like, oh, I'm going to miss the sport, or, what was that? What was life after your senior year?
I knew it was coming to an end, and I'm not sure when or how I heard, but how long they had been around. Because I graduated, my last season was spring of 2006, and I'm not sure how long the professional softball league was going on, but I think I was asked if I wanted to play, but mind you, my ultimate goal is, or some people who wish that they could go into the Olympics, and I just knew, there, not that I was doubting myself, but there were a lot of great athletes, so I was like, okay, well, my time's coming to an end. But then I was asked if I was contacted to see if I wanted to play in the professional league, and I said, why not? So I was like, wow, this is serious, a draft, But yeah, I was able to go play one season because I chose out in Connecticut. So right after, excuse me, I'm so sorry, Rob. If it's okay with you, can I share my freshman year? We went from last place in the Pac-10 to World Series my senior year.
Oh, no way.
I'm so sorry, and I don't mean to, share that, but I just, for every girl's dream, you go to a school where you think it's impossible, but yet, your goals are to help build that program, and again, it all stems down to that chemistry, and yeah, my junior year, I think we took co-Pac-10 champs. Don't ask me where my ring is. I think I lost it, but yeah, we went from last place to being co-Pac-10 champs to our senior year. We went to the World Series, and that was the first and only time still in program history.
No way.
So, yeah, it was a great opportunity. Those girls, my senior class and the class after us, we were so close till this day. So who would have ever thought? But, anything is possible. You guys you have to believe, work hard, and hopefully get the luck of the draw. But it was if that's how you say it. But yeah, going back to that. Yeah, I played a summer out in Connecticut. It felt like a freshman year all over again. I was homesick. I didn't do as well as I had hoped to. Might have been because I was distracted, but just being homesick and all. But it was a great opportunity, great experience, and played a year there, and then decided, I think I'm okay. And then I was contacted again, I think through the help of my college coach and his relationship with part owner, or Lisa Fernandez. And so I was able to play, I think, 2 years with Lisa Fernandez in her league.
Oh.
And yeah, it was extreme, pro fast pitch extreme. So that's the one where you live at home, and then you just kind of travel to different cities and put on exhibition games and clinics for the girls. So that was, it was a blessing. It was, Rob. It was a lot of fun because it was a blessing in disguise. Because you always, here's your role model. I mean, I've met her before through softball, but here's your role model, and you're playing with her and against her, and then your teammates are Jessica Mendoza, Laura Berg, Natasha Watley, but it's just like, man, I should be the Batgirl for these girls. But no, they didn't treat me like that. They were really Mariah Flowers. But, getting to play on the same field as them, it was just a dream come true, I don't honestly think I'll ever make it to the Olympics, but at that moment, this little girl from Carson felt like she was at the Olympics playing with these girls. So it was a blessing.
Wow.
I was truly blessed. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
that's a pretty elite group of people to play with.
Oh my gosh, yes, they're so great. Great women, great role models.
Yeah. So you stayed busy with softball after the World Series.
I did. I kind of put it to rest in 2009. 2009. That was it, playing wise. There's always been a desire in me to coach, but I wanted to take a break from that and just go back to what I had missed, and that was the family time.
Yeah.
And because I dedicated a lot of my time and years to the sport, and I believe it was kind of my time to just step away for a bit. I knew I was going to come back to it, go back to it, but I just wanted to do the family thing and spend time with those that relationships that kind of stopped at a very young age, and then kind of rekindle those and pick up where we left off, or build from there. Get to know who's who, really.
Wow, that is what was it like? Like the there was a draft for the
pro league after high school.
Yeah, I mean, a draft. You think of NFL draft, NBA draft, but it was their little own draft, and yes,
right.
I don't remember exactly how it went, but I'm sure it was only like one round or two. But yeah, it was just the seniors from college who are graduating, and then again, I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't know all the details to it or remember the details, but
still sounds cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a great opportunity. I got to go live in Connecticut. I can say I lived in Connecticut for 3 months. But yeah, hopefully one day I'll go back. I always wish that I can wear American Samoa across my chest and number 32 in the back, but that's a whole nother conversation. Maybe I'll just have a collar shirt and help coach someday. Hint, Rob.
Yeah.
Is coaching something that you thought you'd do ever after playing?
Yes. Not right away, maybe later, right. Because I have so much knowledge of the game that I know I should share, and I will. And here and there, I'll try to, on social media. When I see these, I have to share with you honestly that it warms my heart. I'm so filled with joy when I see more Samoan girls or any girls from the community, but more so I have a big soft spot for seeing more Samoan girls, little girls playing softball, because back then there were zero. I mean, besides my teammate from San Diego, but there were hardly any. And I used to look everywhere we go, like, oh, is she Poly? Oh, no, she's from Hawaii, or whatever. But now just to see the little girls, it's so beautiful, such a beautiful thing. And little do they know they're writing their tickets somewhere, whether it be, it's just nice to see them all, and the parents who are my friends now who have daughters who are out there coaching them, from high school. But yeah, I mean, it's been softball's been great to me. Love the sport.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Yeah, and I think it's important for a lot of the island girls to hear and just to watch, like in their mind's eye when they listen to your story, for them to watch these episodes happen, from freshman year, super sucky team, to, making it to your junior year and co-Pac-10 champ. So that whole thing, man, this is great. Yeah, this is great.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for letting me share that. Hopefully I didn't talk your ear off, but hopefully that paints a little picture for the girls. And, man, softball is where it's at, you guys. It's time for our girls back home in the islands to get the recognition that they deserve and shed some light on them, because, man, it's in us to earn our softball's in you. It doesn't take you to be 6'2" or have a great jump shot and whatnot, but it does take practice and commitment and dedication. Commitment. I'm sorry, and just the support from your family to go do it. Not necessarily give you a guilt trip to go play. And it's everyone's experience. It's not just her experience. It's everyone, because when you go, this is something I always taught, and I truly believe in. When I went, I didn't just go by myself. I took my family, I took my city, I took my Samoan community with me, and that's what pushed me almost every day. So there's a lot there, and it's a fun experience. It's a great opportunity, But if you want something, you gotta go get it. You gotta work hard for it. It's not gonna come on a silver platter to you. So anything is possible.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome, dude. Thank you, man. This is great.
Rob. I'm sorry. You can edit whatever you want, Rob, because I know I took up maybe like more than a half an hour longer than you had expected. I'm so sorry.
Perfect.
Raw and uncut, man. Raw and uncut.
Oh, great. Oh, okay. But there's a lot more, a lot more girls for you to talk, more poly girls for you to talk to, Rob, and I wish you all the best, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, no, this is great, man.
And I'm sure I say this for everybody, that we appreciate your journey and what you've left behind, and
the impact they're going to make in all these
kids from baseball to softball. So this is great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
Cool. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye, Rob.
Okay, bye.